It took 5 years, a young Indian team to win the T20 World Cup, and the banning of an entire league before BCCI started taking T20 cricket seriously and eventually got the IPL into being.
Now, we all know how big IPL is and the kind of impact it's had in the world of cricket. So, we have created a timeline where India wins the World Cup in 2007. There's a league called the ICL that takes place in 2007. And then the IPL as we know it in 2008. So, let's break down the kind of domino effect IPL has had since 2008 to now.
Now, despite a young Indian team winning the 2007 T20 World Cup with Yuvraj Singh 6 sixes and a dominating performance by a Dhoni-led side, BCCI still were not particularly bullish on T20 cricket and the potential that it had in the world of cricket. And this meant that someone outside the BCCI had to take things into their own hands, and this is exactly what happened. Now, the then boss of Zee Network, Subhash Chandra, decided that they wanted to start something called the Indian Cricket League, where the idea was simple. It was very similar to IPL in that there would be multiple teams representing different cities and there would be overseas players and Indian players, domestic players, very similar to the IPL, but that is what the general idea was. And he had also formed a board with the likes of Kapil Dev, Dean Jones and Tony Gregg to oversee this entire tournament.
Now, the problem with this league was it was a private league. It wasn't controlled by the BCCI. BCCI had no control over it. In fact, it was owned by a broadcast company in the first place. And that's when BCCI realized that not only do they have to do something about T20 cricket in the first place, but they also have to do something about this league, because if it gets out of hand, they're going to lose out on a lot of youngsters who might represent India but might just go play the ICL. So they banned players who would play the ICL, and they made sure that ICL is not recognized by the Indian Cricket Board. As a consequence, because Kapil Dev was part of this ICL board, he was also removed from his NCA position, the National Cricket Academy. And all of this eventually snowballed into the ideation of what we now know, the IPL.
Now, from its inception, the IPL was a recipe for success. You had international cricketers, BCCI's backing, and also Bollywood stars. Now, as we know it, the only two things that Indians do care about is cricket and Bollywood. So this was an absolute recipe for success, and there was nothing that could really go wrong. It was the perfect marriage of capitalism, Bollywood, and cricket as we know it. A jibe, in fact, in the BCCI was on the lines of how it takes a Marwadi for the BCCI to realize the true potential of markets.
It's been 16 years since IPL has started, and we've seen so many things go about, from Budgie hugging Simons to Rinku Singh's 5 sixes. There's always talks about IPL and its controversies, especially around the time of the tournament, and if it's good for the game or bad for the game. So we're going to talk about a couple of things that IPL has done in the world of cricket, and especially for BCCI. Now, we all know what IPL has done for the BCCI. We always talk about the amount of money BCCI has. It is by far the richest cricketing board in the world. With that comes a lot of power. It's no coincidence that a lot of BCCI presidents have then gone on to become ICC presidents.
If you've made it this far into the video, do consider liking, commenting, sharing, and most importantly, do subscribe. It takes a lot of effort to make these videos, so if you like what you're watching, do subscribe and let us know what your thoughts are on the IPL, which teams you support, and what are your predictions for 2024.
A lot of this has to do with the IPL, because a lot of relationships that BCCI has formed is because of the IPL itself. There's a lot of unspoken relationships with other cricketing nations around the world where BCCI gets their votes from in the ICC, and this is not something talked about, but it is also well known in the cricketing fraternity. Also, why IPL is pushed so much. It's not just because of the cricketing aspect of things, but it's also a lot to do with politics. And we see that with relationships with foreign players as well.
Now, another thing to talk about is the spotlight that has been put on a lot of Indian domestic players who otherwise for sure might not have made it to mainstream cricket or played for India even. Now, just to name a few, we can think of Pandyas, we can think of the Bumrahs, who've all gone on to play for India, and this probably would have taken longer or not have happened at all if not for the IPL. And it's not just limited to domestic cricket or just Ranji Trophy cricket that these players have been picked up from. There are lots of heartwarming stories where players have been picked up from the remotest of villages because of going viral on social media, or they've been picked up because they play good tennis ball cricket, and eventually they've come into the IPL and they've performed well, and some have even gone on to play for India. And lastly, let's not forget the fans. The IPL has had a huge impact on fans and franchisees around the world. We saw that the popularity of the IPL eventually did lead to the inception of cricket leagues, T20 leagues all around the world. For example, the BBL, PSL and SA T20 most recently, to name a few. Now, while it does mean that T20 cricket gets most of the eyeballs, and some may say that formats like Test cricket are kind of losing their way, I do think that the positive from this is that there are more new fans being pulled into the game, and there is a deeper level of connect that is being established between the fans and the cricketers that are playing these leagues. Apart from that, let's not forget the fact that the IPL has also led to the creation of a lot of jobs and has boosted the economies and also enabled a lot of commercialization of cricket in India, which obviously has augured well. And I think above all, the fans are what make cricket what it is. So the IPL is the perfect place to pull in new fans. T20 cricket is pulling in new fans, and this is perfectly in line with the goal of making cricket a world sport.
This has been a video on IPL and its inception and what it's done to the world of cricket. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. We have a lot of links in the description below. We have blogs, we are on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything. So yeah, thank you so much.